Hello everyone, welcome to StudyIQ. In this video, I will bring to you the Polity and Governance Current Affair Part 6. Please note that I have uploaded 5 parts before this. If you have not seen those 5 parts, then please see first those 5 and only then you have to see Part 6. This is the last part in the series, so I'm very happy that I could bring to you this series just in time for your exam. Let's start the last part and finish it off. StudyIQ's UPSC courses are available for different exams. If you want to buy any of the course, please visit studyiq.com. And do follow me on social media. If you want to ask me questions, connect with me on a personal level. This is my Instagram ID, tirelesssoul. First, let's talk about a very important issue, which is the lateral entry. Clear? So the government last year offered the 10 joint secretary posts via lateral entry. Clear? What is lateral entry? When you open the door of the bureaucracy for the private sector people. Right? For example, you clear UPSC, then you become, let's say, SDM, or you become a DC, you get promoted, and finally after, let's say, 20-25 years, you become a joint secretary. But if you are doing a job in a private sector company, you are a very able person, you can apply for this job through lateral entry. You can directly become a joint secretary from a private job person. Okay. So remember, it will be on a contractual basis. If any person gets selected to the post of joint secretary, the post will be for 3 years and it will be extendable up to 5 depending on the performance and merit of the person. So what is the eligibility? Minimum age limit has been kept as 40. The candidate must be a graduate from a recognized university or institute. Minimum of 15 years of work experience. Clear? From those coming, for those people who are coming from the field of either academia or private sector. These lateral entrants into the civil service, they will be offered a 3-year contract, which can be extended to 5 years depending on the performance. And they will get a very good salary also. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of lateral entry? This is a $1 million question. Okay, what is the advantage and disadvantage of a lateral entry? First of all, advantage, okay. Lot of IAS officers, they don't have that specialization. So for example, today we are talking about machine learning, artificial intelligence, we are talking about Internet of Things. Right? If a person who has worked in artificial intelligence for 15 years in a private company, he will be in a better position to handle initiative of artificial intelligence compared to IAS officer who has no experience of AI and who has been through a conventional promotion. Right? So the lack of specialization across the top tier of the Indian bureaucracy is a concern that has remained unaddressed until now. So it is the first time that the government is wanting to recruit people from private sector directly because they have merit, they have skill, they have quality, right? Second is IAS officers, they get recruited at a very early age, like some even clear IAS at the age of 21. So they lack personality, they lack administrative judgment, they lack capability, right? Okay, they learn with time, but there are some things that you learn with time. In a private job, what happens is there is no scope for mediocrity. If a person does not perform well, he gets fired. Whereas a poorly performing IAS officer will never get fired, and with a due course of time, he will rise in the ranks. Clear? So we are ultimately harboring someone who is not competent just because he's a government job. We are harboring that person. The people from the private sector, they are very competent throughout their lives because they know they cannot afford to be complacent. Right? So, lot of IAS people, they lack administrative judgment. Yes, some may pass with flying color while others don't make the cut even later on in their career. Allowing the lateral entry, clear, for the seasoned professionals and experts into the service makes up for this deficiency, make up for the lack of talent in these young IAS officers. Career promotions in IAS, they move along seamlessly with few impediments along the way. Attempts to introduce meritocracy hasn't quite worked out. If we bring experts from the professional sphere, then we are bringing the IAS people out of their comfort zone. Clear? Because now they know that if you want to be additional secretary, joint secretary or secretary, means if you want to occupy the top post, you better be good. Otherwise, the private people will take your place. Remember, this isn't the first time that the government of India is bringing in the professionals from the private sector. For example, in Reserve Bank of India, governor was Raghuram Rajan. Now he is not in a bureaucrat. He is not in bureaucracy. He was directly recruited as a private entrant, and from a private entrant he became RBI governor. Clear? Similarly, Arvind Subramaniam, Arvind Pangaria, these are all very talented people. They were included in various departments. So why not in bureaucracy then? Okay. Now remember that these people who come from the private sector into the bureaucracy, they are much more aligned to the needs of today compared to 25 years back. Clear? Lot of policy decisions, lot of all these things, they can contribute more compared to the conventional IAS officers. Now, what are the problems with lateral entry? See, the problem of lateral entry is this. One person is coming from a private sector. He is used to the work culture in a private sector. Okay, how will he manage bureaucracy? How will he manage the red tape, the slow moving of things? Okay, so there will be a cultural mismatch. Differences in the work culture, turf war, and systemic inertia often will come in the way of a person who is moving from private sector to public sector. One of the distinguishing aspects that the current crop of IAS officers can hold up is their experience in the field, right? Serving some of the poorest districts in our hinterland. Those people who are coming from privileged backgrounds, who have very good sound jobs, they may never have seen even a village in their entire life. So they may be what you call the armchair officers, sitting in their AC offices, not knowing the realities of India, not knowing the rural India. Clear? There are also concerns that the introduction of pro-establishment candidates through lateral entry at the position of joint secretary could stifle the good civil servant who are resisting against something inadvisable that the government seeks to do. This is another concern, corruption. So the government, what it can do, the favorite people of the government, clear, they can become the joint secretary, because the government, what it has to do, it can lead to corruption, right? And another problem is that, let's say there is no corruption, but the still government can choose those people for senior post who are more aligned to their own point of view, who are not rebelling the ideas of the government. Okay, this is also concern. Now let's move to the second topic, which is the new cadre policy for IAS and IPS officers. It has been finalized. New cadre policy is what? So this has been done to promote national integration. What is national integration? So a person from Jammu Kashmir, if he is getting posted in Tamil Nadu, then definitely there is more diversity. So the new policy for cadre allocation has been finalized by the central government for IAS, IPS and other officers aimed at ensuring national integration. Now the officers of the All India Service, the IAS, IPS and IFS, Indian Forest Service, they will have to choose the cadre from a set of zone instead of states. Earlier they used to say, I want to join Haryana cadre, I want to join Gujarat cadre. Now it is not like that. Now the entire exercise is, entire India has been divided into 5 zones. So zone 1 is what you call AGMUT, Arunachal, Goa, Mizoram and Union Territories, Jammu Kashmir, Himachal, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Rajasthan and Haryana. This is zone 1. It has 7 cadre. One is this 6 cadre and this is AGMUT is entirely 1 cadre. Then zone 2 has UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha. Zone 3, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. Zone 4, West Bengal, Sikkim, Assam, Meghalaya, Manipur, Tripura, Nagaland. Clear? And zone 5 is Telangana, Andhra, Karnataka, Tamil and Kerala, the South India. Clear? So at present, what is the policy? The officers of the 3 services, IAS, IPS and IFS, they are allocated a cadre state or a set of states to work in. They may be later posted on central deputation depending upon their work and eligibility. Now what will happen under the new policy? The candidates who are preparing for UPSC, they will have to give their preference of a zone, not a cadre, first a zone. Clear? They have to give their choices in a descending order of preference from among the various zones. And once the zone preference is given, then within that zone, they give the preference for the cadre. Clear? Then the candidate will indicate the cadre in the order of preference from each zone. Clear? So a candidate can list all the 26 cadre following this process. The preference for the zone will remain in the same order and no change will be permitted there. If a candidate does not want any preference, if he doesn't give any preference for any of the zone or cadre, it will be presumed that he has no specific preference. Okay, then he will be allotted any from the government side. If the candidates are not allocated any one of the cadre for which they have indicated a preference, they shall be allotted along with other candidates any of the remaining cadre arranged in an alphabetical order where there are vacancies. Understood? It is not necessary that you will get the cadre and zone of your choice. It will depend on a lot of other factors. Clear? If a candidate has not given preference, then it will be presumed that he has no specific preference. And if a candidate they are not allocated the cadre or zone of their choice, then they will be given any remaining cadre in an alphabetical order wherever there are vacancies available. Candidates will be allotted their home cadre on the basis of merit, preference and vacancy in the category only. So what is the objective of this policy? The new policy will seek to ensure that officers from Bihar, to give an example, they will get to work in South India and Northeast India, which may not be his preferred cadre. Okay. This policy will ensure national integration of the bureaucracy, as officers will get a chance to work in a state which is not their place of domicile. Understood? So it will promote diversity. And what is the disadvantage? Disadvantage is if a person from Bihar is getting posted in Northeast, does he know the local language? Does he know the local issues? So that problem can come. Now let's talk about the jail reforms. Clear? So there is a committee, there is a 3-judge bench which has Madan Lokur, Abdul Nazir and Deepak Gupta. Clear? And there is a head which is Amitav Roy. So in the exam they can simply ask, Amitav Roy panel was constituted for what? Amitav Roy committee was for jail reforms. What is the problem with jails in India? The most important problem is overcrowded jails. Okay. So what will the panel do? It will devise ways and means to prevent violence against inmates, get the required legal aid and rehabilitate them. It will also examine the feasibility of setting up more open prisons. The committee will examine the extent of overcrowding in prisons. It will examine the functioning of under trial review committee, availability of legal aid and advice, grant of remission, parole and furlough. And you can see here the top 10 overcrowded prison: Chhattisgarh, Delhi, Meghalaya, UP, MP, Uttarakhand, Kerala. Look at the overcrowdedness. 234% filled capacity. Now if I ask you what is section 436A? Section 436A says that any under trial, any person who is under trial, right, and he has been detained already for a period equal to half of the maximum sentence specified for the offense for which he or she is charged, then the person is eligible for release on personal bond without surety. What does this mean? So let's say a person has committed a crime X. For that, the maximum punishment is 10 years in jail. The person has already spent 5 years in jail and he is still on trial. Either he does not have the money to fight the case, he does not have the lawyers, he lacks adequate legal aid. But he has already spent 50% of the maximum possible punishment for that offense. Then he should be given a bail. Okay, he is eligible for release. But the problem is, this is what section 436A says, but the problem is despite having this section, it is not implemented. In fact, lot of prison officials, they are not even aware of this, and the poor people, they are languishing in jail even when they are on trial, right? Now let's talk about another decision of the government, which is to include coal bed methane and shale gas in the definition of petroleum. So they have amended the Petroleum and Natural Gas Rules 2018. What is petroleum now? It now means naturally occurring hydrocarbons, whether in the form of natural gas, in a liquid, viscous or solid form, or a mixture of these. Okay, so the old definition of petroleum is now done away with. What has been included in petroleum? Coal bed methane and shale gas. What this will enable is, two policies. One is called HELP. Till now, petroleum only meant liquid hydrocarbon, but now even solid. So coal bed methane and shale gas, the companies were not able to explore using hydrocarbon exploration licensing policy, because here hydrocarbon does not contain coal bed methane and shale gas. And also open acreage licensing policy is also there, which is under HELP. It is a part of HELP. Clear? It is also very important. Here the private companies are given the license to explore. Go and explore the gas. Go and explore the oil. Once you get the block, come back to the government. The government will conduct the bid. Okay. So the benefit of open acreage licensing policy is that there is less bureaucracy. Clear? There is a revenue sharing model, and the exploration work is done by the private companies and not necessarily by the government. Earlier, what used to happen? The government used to explore the blocks of coal, gas or petrol, and then the private companies, they were sold these. Now the private companies will go and explore, Once they are done exploring, the bidding can take place. This is open acreage. Anybody can do it. Open. Okay. It's a level playing field now. But still these companies under OALP and HELP, they were not doing the exploration of coal bed methane and shale gas because it is not included in the definition of hydrocarbon. But now it has been done. Now India and Pakistan, they held the 115th meeting of the Permanent Indus Commission. Okay. It took place in Lahore from August 29 to 30. And what is Permanent Indus Commission? It was formed under the Indus Water Treaty signed between India and Pakistan in 1960, and it includes the Indus commissioners of both the country. You know that under the Indus Water Treaty, the water of the three eastern rivers, Ravi, Byas and Satluj, had been reserved for India, and the water of the western river, Indus, Chenab and Jhelum, it was reserved for Pakistan. Clear? But India is making a lot of projects, like for example the Pakal Dul 1000 megawatt project, the Kishan Ganga project, the Lower Kalnai project. Pakistan believed that all of these violated Indus Treaty. But the Indian side said it is not violating the treaty, because India said that we can use the water of the above two rivers, clear, that is the Indus, Chenab and Jhelum, but we cannot do any construction. So in fact, in the case of Kishan Ganga project, Pakistan dragged India to the International Criminal Court, but they ruled in the favor of India. So what were the conclusions after the meeting? Pakistan will allow India to inspect the Kotri barrage in the lower Indus, clear, and India has agreed to Pakistan's request for a special inspection of the hydroelectric projects in Jhelum River Basin, including the Kishan Ganga project. Now let's talk about National Foundation for Communal Harmony. What is it? It is an autonomous organization which works under the Ministry of Home Affairs. It organizes something known as Qaumi Ekta Week, Communal Harmony Campaign. Okay, Qaumi Ekta Week. It also observes the Communal Harmony Flag Day on 25th of November every year. What is the objective of the foundation? It is to promote communal harmony, national integration, okay, peace and brotherhood between various religions. It also provides financial assistance for relief and rehabilitation of children rendered orphan or destitute in communal, caste, ethnic or terrorist violence. Now let's talk about NCVET, National Council for Vocational Education and Training. The Union Cabinet chaired by PM Modi, they merged two departments. One is National Council for Vocational Training, NCVT, along with NSDA. So National Skill Development Agency. So NCVT and NSDA, they are merged together into NSVET, National Council for Vocational Education and Training. What is the function of NCVT? It is to regulate the vocational education training, short-term and long-term, skill development, clear, approval of qualification developed by awarding bodies and sector skill council, indirect regulation of vocational training institute, research and information dissemination and grievance redressal. Also, India will expand the polar research to Arctic as well. So there are two poles, the Arctic and the Antarctic, right? So 3 decades after first mission to Antarctica, the government is refocusing the priorities to the other pole, now Arctic. Arctic also has a lot of potential, and these are very rich mineral zone. Okay, a lot of minerals are there in Arctic and Antarctic. That is why what the government has done is it has renamed National Center for Antarctic and Ocean Research to National Center for Polar and Ocean Research. So they have replaced the word Antarctic with polar, because polar includes Antarctic and Arctic both. Clear? The intent behind the name change is to show that we are refocusing our priorities now to the Arctic. So NCAOR, which means National Center for Polar and Ocean Research, it was formed in 1998 with an objective to conduct expedition to India's base station in Antarctica. And NCAOR comes under the Ministry of Earth Sciences. Remember, India is an observer to the Arctic Council. It has been re-elected as the observer in 2019 also. And India has one Arctic observation station also near Norway. Okay, remember, India considers Himalayas as the third pole because Himalayas also have lot of ice, lot of snow and ice. India has also established a high altitude research station in the Himalaya which is called Himansh. It is in Spiti, Himachal Pradesh. And there is a Himadri research station. It is located near Norway, about 1200 kilometers south of the North Pole. It was started by India in 2008. Clear? And the NCOAR is the nodal organization which coordinates the research activities at Himadri Research Station. Also, India is also committed to prevent climate change. So climate change was also a decisive factor in India's rethinking. Clear? So annual mission to maintain India's 3 bases in Antarctica will continue, but now India will also do more expeditions to the Arctic also, because the Arctic ice has also been melting rapidly. A big worry for India is the impact of the melting ice on the monsoon. Because the ice melts, lot of cold water enters into the oceans. That is why the low pressure zones are not created. That is why monsoon becomes weak. It leads to drought in India. Because of the melting of the sea ice. And India is already an observer in the Arctic Council. And Arctic Council, these are the 8 member countries are there: Canada, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Norway, Russia, Sweden, and United States. And it is headquartered in Tromsø, which is in Norway. Remember, if India is an observer in Arctic Council, India can also persuade these countries not to go for the polar silk route of China. India can do that also, because China is building a polar silk route also. So India can persuade other countries, India can come close to these countries, it can show these countries the foul plan of China also. Now let's talk about multidimensional poverty index. India has made good progress in reducing multidimensional poverty according to the multidimensional poverty index, and the incidence of multidimensional poverty has almost become 50% less in India. And regarding human development index, India climbed 1 spot. Now India is 130 among 189 countries in human development index. Clear? So human development index calculates various parameters. There are 3 basic dimensions to it: long and healthy life, access to knowledge, and decent standard of living. The first report was launched in 1990 by Pakistani economist Mehboob ul Haq and Indian economist Amartya Sen. So India's HDI score is 0.640, and India is among the poor performing countries. If your rank is 130, it shows everything. We need to do more. Another concern for India is the inequality. The rich is getting richer, poor is getting poorer. So social protection measures need to be there. Norway, Switzerland, Australia, Ireland, and Germany, they've led the ranking, whereas countries like Niger, Central African Republic, South Sudan, Chad, and Burundi, they got the lowest scores in HDI. So with this, I finished this series. This was lecture 6. I hope you liked and enjoyed the series. Do give me your feedback on this series. I tried very hard to bring you the best in a shortest time possible. And if I succeeded, then let me know. Also, our UPSC courses are available. Go and visit our website StudyIQ.com if you want to buy any of the course. Thank you so much, and see you in my next series.